Alright, so we just had the Diablo 4 livestream where they previewed Season 2, which was a huge announcement. And they have also released 2 blog posts detailing all the different changes, the new Endgame Bosses, changes to activities, nightmare dungeons, item improvements, a bunch of quality of life stuff that I'm going to be going through here. And we can also talk about the vampiric powers that actually look really amazing. I'm going to try to keep this short and then go through all of the details in individual videos because there's actually a lot to unpack. But let's get into it. So we're starting here with the general updates. It was a 2-hour stream. So they showed us the 5 new endgame bosses that are going to be permanent additions to the game. There's going to be an Uber Duriel and a bunch of others. Varshan is coming back, a few new ones. We have some screenshots here somewhere that I can show off. We also have the sound down here, I believe. But they look really cool. I'm really excited, and they're gonna be like somewhere in like the end game progression, where basically starting from nightmare difficulty, you can fight some of them by doing certain end game activities. For example, one of them comes from whispers, one of them comes from nightmare dungeons, one of them comes from hell tides, and so on, so that you have reasons to farm different activities and unlock them, and then they drop certain unique items. It sounds really cool, but they have not really given us details on like which of them drops which items. We just know that Uber Duriel is the hardest one, and he will drop Uber uniques. So this is like the cool stuff to look forward to there, I guess. Plus, you can target farm a lot of other uniques, but there's also more info to come in the next live stream on that. Then we have the endgame activity changes. There's going to be more frequent Legion events, more frequent world bosses. Lots of improvements to Whispers and Helltide. There's more gold in Whispers. You get lots more experience. They said they want to kind of bring them on par with Nightmare Dungeons. So this means like a massive improvement to experience rewards in Helltide and Nightmare and Whispers to kind of bring them on the same level. So let's see how close they will be exactly. But there is actually a reason to do different activities. And I think this is one of the biggest changes here that might be overlooked actually. Because we actually get new, almost new content, so to say, because previously we were only farming Nightmare Dungeons, let's be real, and now we actually have reasons to do other stuff, and I think that's going to be cool and like break up the monotony of the grind. So very much looking forward to that. There's also going to be some other nice changes. For example, if you complete Whispers, you always get sigils within 5 tiers of the highest you've completed in Nightmare Dungeons. That's kind of cool. You get more dedicated loot from Helltide chests and from Whisper caches, so you get what you're looking for. The world boss warning timer has increased, the Legion warning timer has increased. So just in general, roundabout, like really great updates here for all of the endgame activities. I think it's going to make the game feel a lot more varied and lots more stuff to do. So let's see. They also improved experience, so we're going to be leveling much faster. So they said that all around these improvements make it 40% faster. So some XP improvements, for example, experiences bonuses are now multiplicative bonuses. Previously they were all additive, so if you had 200% bonus from Torment, you get like 5% from a potion that did almost nothing. Now it actually does something. The party bonus, the blessings, incenses now also give experience, so that also seems like a pretty massive boost here to leveling speed. I expect that speedrunners will probably reach 100 solo in something like 20 to 30 hours, and groups can probably go as low as 10 hours. So it's going to be really fast, actually. And yeah, we'll see how the race will turn out. Also, some other changes here. Monsters will no longer be like behind you in levels on the outer world. So that was like a change they did for Season 1. That is also gone. Nightmare Dungeons. There was a lot of stuff here. So most importantly, they're bringing back some affixes in a different form. Backstabbers, crit resist is changed, death pulse is changed. In general, they are nerfed and more fun, in my opinion. So they're like a bit more like counterplay. For example, backstabbers, if you get hit from behind, you become vulnerable. So it's not like this extremely punishing, you get one-shot kind of scenario, but you know, you are a danger basically. Similar with crit resist, you can actually outplay it. So that's kind of cool stuff here. Other than that, it's just some other life improvements here. Like for example, you get teleported directly into the dungeon. So it's much easier to farm dungeons non-stop without 2 loading screens all the time. That was very annoying. Also, some objectives have been removed in some dungeons. They massively changed the layout on some of them. I think I have a screenshot on that, actually. Let me try to find this. But in general, it seems like they want to make dungeons more streamlined and easier to navigate with putting all the objectives exactly on the path. So here's a screenshot. This is, I'm not sure which dungeon, but for example, previously you could like take a wrong turn and go the wrong way and then backtrack a lot. And now it's like way easier to find all the objectives. So they want to reduce backtracking, but also make the dungeons a bit less streamlined at the same time. So there's like more things to explore inside a dungeon, but without you being able to miss the objectives. So let's see how that will turn out. Also, yeah, some dungeons will completely have no objectives besides finding the boss. So that's also kind of cool. And of course, there's going to be a new Nightmare Dungeon rotation. Outside of that, yeah, Paraglyph XP has been increased, so that allows you to actually farm those other endgame activities. I think that's going to be fun, so that you don't have to grind only Nightmare Dungeons anyway because of the glyphs. So let's see how much faster that will be, but I expect pretty significantly. Then we have events. So they just made events generally better, so there's more density for next. In general, I think events are going to be like really good to do. There are some that are always worth it already, like Cursed Chests right now, for example. Some of those like survival wave events are pretty good, but there's also others that are really bad, like Cursed Shrines. So I expect they're going to be generally really strong now. And NPCs also don't no longer get one shot, so that's kind of cool. Item adjustments, this is a big topic. So what they are doing is they are increasing the minimum and the maximum item power you can find from hideable monsters, meaning that the new item power cap is going to be 920 from level 100 monsters. And at the same time, you also raise the minimum item power when you fight hideable monsters, even going all the way further to like tier 100 Nightmare Dungeons with level 154 monsters. You can basically close the gap between the minimum and the maximum of items that you find, so that farming high tiers of Nightmare Dungeons is really rewarding. So that seems like a crazy buff, but I also expect you're gonna see some other nerfs with the announced changes to crit and vulnerable that they're gonna detail in the next update. So that will probably kind of like balance it out. But it means you're gonna get way bigger weapons, way bigger armor, way bigger resists from our base items. Potentially way higher like life values, and potentially also legendary powers that scale with item power. So it's gonna be pretty crazy. But it definitely gives you like a reason to kind of keep progressing your items, and instead of like just stopping at like level 70 or 75 and not really caring about loot anymore, now you continuously have to improve your loot as you go all the way to level 100 and beyond. So that's kind of gives you like more of a grind to do. So that sounds really fun. I'm really excited to look to try it out and see how that feels. Some other adjustments here. There's a hardcore DC protection. It finally made it into the game with the Scroll of Escape. That's really cool. They made gems a crafting material, so you just go to the gem crafter now and you craft them after picking them up automatically. So they previewed that. It's just like some other material like rawhide, basically, that automatically gets swooped into your inventory. Yeah, you have some other improvements here as well to enchanting. So with they said that enchanting generally will be more accessible. It will cost more initially, but it will scale less. So I expect that we're gonna be enchanting a lot more at your cultist. And we are also getting a lot more gold from the Whispers in particular. They said Whispers are gonna be like the main gold income, so you don't actually have to go and sell items to the vendor all the time. In fact, on the higher difficulties, the low-level items will not even drop as items anymore. They will just drop as a crafting material. So instead of picking them all up, you can just swoop them all in as veiled crystals or something, and you're gonna get gold, for example, from Whispers. So that sounds really nice and really big quality of life, so you don't have to constantly TP back, empty your inventory one by one, selling it to the vendor. There's also gonna be some other quality of life improvements, like you can sell all of the junk to the vendor now, and you can also favorite items. So the opposite of marking as junk, you can favorite an item, so it will not be destroyed or sold. So that sounds pretty cool. Yeah, there's also some other like incentives here for Whisper caches, giving you higher item power, Helter chests giving higher item power, so you can kind of like use those systems to gear up if you need a bit of a boost in power, for example. So it sounds like it's a nice alternative to Nightmare Dungeon grinding, where you get glyph XP instead. Yeah, lots of other improvements. For example, all of the renown is carrying over, however, not for hardcore players apparently. So there is this line here, where apparently hardcore is excluded. We have not really understood right now what this means exactly. because it seems like Altars and Metascari might still be carrying over as it did in the previous season. But it seems like for hardcore characters, you might have to do it either on every character or at least once in a season. But for everyone else, if you have done Renown once on softcore, you will have everything, basically. So that sounds really nice. Then we have 2 additional character slots. So just like more space, basically. They did talk about stash space as well. However, there's no more stash space coming right now. They said that they're gonna look for improvements in the future and you know, maybe give us more over time when they can. But right now, this is not coming. And mounts. Yeah, mounts is a big topic. So mounts seem to be massively improved. They have way shorter cooldown on mounting again after dismounting, on using your dismount ability. Base speed is improved. It's much easier to go at maximum speed. It can break through the barriers. So overall, mounts seems massively improved. So they're gonna be just more fun to use. They also showed us like a little clip there previewing this. It seemed really nice, and they're also not gonna get stuck so much. Yeah. Town adjustments. I think I have an example here. Basically, they added stashes in every little small town, everywhere, all around the world. Also, they repositioned some of the NPCs. For example, the Occultist is going to be way closer, or like the Purveyor of Curiosity is going to be way closer to the other vendors sometimes. Or Occultist is now at the Tree of Whispers, so you can do everything in one go there. And in general, you have like much less downtime in town. So this is the gist here. Some other quality of life improvements. Item sorting is improved. There's a streamer mode that hides names and battle tags. There is better streamlined display of item affixes. You can group extracted aspects more easily, so you just have like a much easier time basically finding all the stuff in your stash. They also talked about maybe improving like the aspects stash problem in the future, but also not coming in Season 2 yet. So we have to wait for that. So most of your stash is probably still going to that. Some other improvements here. They zoomed out the minimap. You can hide combat text like vulnerable, etc. Unique item visibility. Some other improvements here. Yeah, overall, those are just like the eternal round changes, basically, like the game changes in the patch. The season stuff is also pretty big, so I can show that here. Basically, we're gonna get like a Helltide 2.0 from what I can see. So there's a screenshot here somewhere of this new blood event that happens basically in the overworld. Let me try to find a screenshot here. So this looks like this. It basically, at any point in time, there's gonna be like this this event going on somewhere in the world with all these vampires spawning, and you can go there and farm these vampire guys, and then you can get these vampire powers there. So there's like a few different items that you can find, consumables that it allows you to add pacts to your items. There's 3 different pacts. You need to combine them in a certain way to unlock those vampiric powers. And there's like a whole like interface for those powers. They look like this here, for example. They are really strong, probably on the level of Million Hearts, or even more than that, to be honest. They seem really impactful, so you definitely want to like check them out and make a build around that. I'm gonna try to find another screenshot here of the interface. But in general, yeah, these are consumable items, so you can use these to add a pack to an item. You can see like these little icons here on the helm, chest, gloves, pants, boots, basically all the left side of the armor slots. You add these packs, and then you have the ability to unlock these powers here. So this is what it looks like. And there's also an interface where you have like all the collected vampiric powers. And you can upgrade them, and then you can combine them as you want, as long as you satisfy their packed requirements, basically. Sounds really fun, and I really like that it's something to do with items, so you can find these items, and then you can upgrade those powers. It sounds really nice and easier to handle than the Millionth Hearts, where you had to find a new copy of a Millionth Heart every single time you found a new item. So I think this is going to be a bit easier to handle here. So here's the interface of the vampiric powers. You can select 5 of them. Here's like all of the powers, a bit like the glyphs. You can slot them in your paragons, for example. And then you get like those different effects here. There's actually a full list of all these different effects. I will go through them in a separate video because it's quite long here. We just checked them out, but they are really powerful. So definitely something to look forward to here. Yeah, and that's also basically the main parts of this patch. Did I miss anything, guys? So I was recording this live on stream. Maybe chat has another suggestion of something to add here. But in general, I'm really looking forward to this. As I mentioned, I'm going to have a lot more breakdowns of these individual topics, especially the vampiric powers. There's a lot to talk about. Some other improvements they made that I probably missed now, like small little details here and there. But it looks really good. I think Season 2 is going to be big. I think it's going to be very enjoyable. I almost forgot, actually, there's a stash search coming. You can now filter by certain items or the rarity types, etc. with buttons or with a filter, like a search, so you can actually type there. So that's a pretty huge feature that is coming as well, so for quality of life at least. Yeah, I got it all, chat says. Perfect. So with that, we end the YouTube summary. And hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're looking forward to it. I'm going to have the links in the description to both of these posts. So go check them out in more detail. And stay tuned for more video uploads over the coming weeks. So I'm going to have a lot of stuff to put out here for Season 2. See you guys next time.